In this devotional, I'm going to share with you 3 thoughts from Job chapter 20, verses 4 through 11, where I'll ask the question, why should I pursue righteousness? Job 20, verses 4 through 11 says, "Do you not know this from of old, since man was placed on earth, that the exalting of the wicked is short, and the joy of the godless but for a moment? Though his height mount up to the heavens, and his head reach to the clouds, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, 'Where is he?' He will fly away like a dream and not be found. He will be chased away like a vision of the night. The eye that saw him will see him no more, nor will his place any more behold him. His children will seek the favor of the poor, and his hands will give back his wealth. His bones are full of his youthful vigor, but it will lie down with him in the dust." Zophar, one of Job's friends, responds to Job's complaint with generalities. These are general pieces of wisdom that Zophar is sharing with Job, who is expressing a very specific complaint. And this is what I think is going on here. Job and his friends are talking past each other. They are not talking about the same things because Job is talking primarily about his specific experience, while all of the wisdom that his friends are giving him are generalities that you might read in something like the book of Proverbs. Well, as we look at the things that Zophar is saying, what we find out is that they are definitely true, but they are true in a way that might not be entirely applicable to Job's situation. So, as we read Job chapter 20, verses 4 through 11, we find that we should pursue righteousness. Thought number 1, short-lived. We should pursue righteousness because wickedness is short-lived. And all of the benefits that might come to you from doing things wickedly are also short-lived. Sure, you might be high on the mountain for a minute. You might be up there for a little while, but inevitably, those who make gains by practicing wickedness are brought low. It isn't something that is ever going to last. That if you are pursuing wickedness as a means of personal gain in some area or other, you might have some success for a little while. But that success isn't going to last forever. And this is something that Zophar is explaining to Job. He says that we all know this. We've known this from of old, that if you seek out wickedness and you are exalted as a wicked person, then it doesn't last. You might have that benefit for a little while, but eventually you will come down. It's inevitable, and it's something that they all know. So instead of pursuing a short-lived exaltation through wickedness, pursue righteousness. Thought number 2, lineage. Zophar points out that the children of the person who is seeking out wickedness as a means of exaltation, the children have to beg from the poor. They're not even able to beg from the rich. They have to beg from those who are poor. This is just an example of just how low they will become by pursuing wickedness as a means of success in the world. The lineage collapses. The people who depend on you ultimately are left in a worse state of affairs than they were originally. And this is something that we really need to consider. What kind of legacy, what kind of lineage are we leaving behind? Are we leaving one that is going to be lasting and good and beneficial for generations to come? Or are we leaving behind a legacy that is falling short? Well, if you would pursue righteousness, what you'll find is that that's going to be beneficial, not just for you, but it'll be beneficial for you and for your children and for your grandchildren and for all those who are coming up after you, that pursuing righteousness is something that avails them well. It helps them. It helps them to get along better in the world and recognize things like the goodness of God, the value of righteousness, and that sort of thing. So we should pursue righteousness because that's going to be an ultimate benefit to those who come up after us. Thought number 3, death. You should pursue righteousness because death is inevitable. You should pursue righteousness because death is that one thing that we are all going to experience that none of us can escape. Make a note, you will die someday. And this is one of the things that Zophar is saying. He's saying something that's absolutely true, and all of the people sitting around there with Job and his buddies, they all know it. They all know that death looms over everyone. And because of that, you should pursue righteousness. Because ultimately, you must give an account to your Creator for all of the things that you have done. And since we are all to be judged in this way, we ought to pursue that which is inherently good. We ought to do that which is right in the world, rather than that which is wicked. Because when we pursue that which is wicked, sure, you might make some gains in the short term, but that is not a long-term strategy for success because of the inevitability of death and the subsequent judgment. So all of us should pursue righteousness. We should pursue righteousness because it is a long-lasting method for benefiting yourself and those around you. It's a means of protecting the generations that come up after you, and because of the inevitability of death and judgment. So, my encouragement to everyone watching, pursue righteousness because it will avail you far more than gain by any other nefarious sorts of means. These three thoughts come from the assigned reading of Job chapters 19 and 20. If you'd like to read through the Bible with me, you can do so by subscribing to this channel, by clicking on the link in the description, or by joining the Facebook group Through the Bible, where we are reading the text of Scripture together.